Hello, welcome to Muddy Puddles. I'm Jo. Thank you for spending this time with me. This week we will be talking about Kevin and Ava, our resident pigs, and showing you how we keep them healthy and dry in this very, very wet weather we've been having. Also, we find out what was wrong with Ava last week. And some of them, possibly you, will be leaving our flock soon. There are lots and lots of projects ongoing on the farm, and we'll have a little look at some of those as well. But right now, let's go over and see Kevin and Ava and see how they're getting on.
As you are aware, last week Ava was not feeling very well. One thing that did really soothe her was having a gentle massage of her neck area, just like I'm doing now. And she was quite contented to lean up against me quietly while I was doing that. And while I was massaging her neck, I did notice that she had some hard lumps in her neck there where I'm rubbing and pointing. They were a ping pong ball, but larger than a large marble, and they were really hard on the Saturday. On the Sunday morning, one of them had gone down and the other one had softened. And that was, I think, her turning point, that she started to feel better. But you can see she really likes to have that area massaged really gently. In my research that I went and did once I'd found those hard nodules, several possibilities came up. One was an abscess in the jaw, which would have needed draining by a vet and antibiotics. It wasn't that because it went away on its own. The other thing is it could have been tuberculosis, but that also wouldn't have gone away on its own. The other thing is pigs could get little viruses like a cough or a cold as humans get, and that seems to be what was probably causing her problem.
No, Kevin, no. Leave the camera alone, Kevin. Kevin, leave the camera alone. Selfie with Kevin. Wait to choose the tripod, didn't you? Come on then. Just going to show you inside their house. Go on in, you go. No, Kevin, don't eat. No, stop trying to eat. Kevin, stop trying to eat the tripod. Go on in.
One of the biggest difficulties at this time of year is how much wet there is about. We've solved that problem by putting down about 12 to 18 inches of wood chip to give them a nice firm base where the mud doesn't come through, and then giving them plenty of straw in their bedding to keep them dry. So they have a space both indoors and outdoors where they can keep their feet dry. If they had their trotters constantly wet and constantly in the mud, they would be at risk of getting foot rot. And we don't want that. We just want happy, healthy pigs.
Right, that'll do.
Time for a flower farm update. As you can see, the remainder of the sunflowers have now been cut down, and their stalks remain in place for bugs to overwinter in. In front of the flower farm, at the top from the direction the wind primarily comes from, I've planted a double row of willow. Here are two beds that I have made so far. They have hardy annuals in and bulbs. The beds are approximately 12 metres long by 75 centimetres wide. As you can see, the remainder of the flower farm has a really healthy green manure of Phacelia, vetch and linseed, and that will happily grow on until the spring. There is room in the remainder of the farm for a further 30 beds and the paths between. At home, I'm growing on trays of plugs, which will go in the springtime, but until then, the soil is being fed by the roots of all of this green manure, which will be covered over and composted into the top layer in the spring. Some of my Australorp group will be sold as a breeding trio. So this is a male, and he'll have a couple of females go along with him, and so they will be departing at the time they're sold. This is my other flock, which are Rhode Island Red and Light Sussex, and they are learning to be very tame and feed from my hands. It's a joy to train them to do this. It's a fun activity, except of course when they decide to peck the camera, which they sometimes do. If you are enjoying this content, please subscribe and hit the like button. One of the other projects that's ongoing at Muddy Puddles Farm is the willow making project for the willow dome. So let's go over and have a look at how I constructed the willow dome. I needed gloves, a bamboo cane, a screwdriver. I also used some string, a pair of scissors, and some secateurs. First of all, I sorted the willow out to make sure that I had strong and long rods. And then I got to it. Here you can see I uncovered the cardboard, drove the screwdriver in at an angle of 45 degrees because that is how the angle that the willow needs to grow in to make the lattice. Then I used the bamboo rod to push into the hole made by the screwdriver to drive that down further to make a deeper hole of between 12 and 18 inches. And then lastly, I inserted the willow whip into the space, feeding it in all the way down as far as it would go. The next part was time consuming. It was tying all of those pieces of willow together at the points where they would cross. Eventually, those points where they cross each other that are tied tightly will fuse together, and eventually this will become one giant living organism that is all connected.
So I have completed as much of the willow dome as I'm going to for today. So I started here this morning and I have got all the way around. That's one of the entrances, and all the way around. I have yet to tie these, but I will do that another day. All the way around to what is the final entrance here. From that post there, back around to that post, and that is where I originally started there.
That's all from Muddy Puddles Farm this week. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe and hit the like button. Thanks once again. Bye!